Do you believe that Michael Malone and his message and him trying to sell this underdog mentality has helped the Denver Nuggets on their run?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I alluded to it just a few minutes ago, even with starting the segment. This is a team, like, for most NBA fans, like true NBA fans, you know what Denver's been doing all season. You've been seeing what Nikola Jokic has done in the past 2 seasons. He hasn't been the MVP for anything. He was in the running to potentially get his 3rd MVP this season. So it's not a fluke. But I think that in the concept of what he was trying to do with his team and telling them, like, we're considered the underdogs, I think they for sure have bought into that concept. But coming into the finals now, I can't say that he can necessarily keep that mindset that they're the underdogs. I think that, with the way that they've come into the playoffs, dominated, swept the Lakers. Like I said, no one put that on their bingo card before the playoffs started, that if those two teams got into a matchup, that they would sweep the Lakers with LeBron and AD in the lineup. So for them to do that, on top of the fact, play as well as they've played throughout this postseason, they're no longer the underdog. He can still preach that mindset if he wants to, but statistically and what we've seen from the eye in their games, they're no longer the underdog.
And to your point, Wilton, I remember going into the playoffs, we were talking about how competitive the Western Conference was going to be. I mean, we were talking about Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies. We were talking about KD, Booker, Paul George possibly coming back, Kawhi Leonard, Steph and the Warriors in the mix, LeBron and the Lakers. And all the Denver Nuggets did was they was quietly the number 1 seed. It was kind of quiet, Wilton. It was quiet all season that they were the most consistent team in the Western Conference. And dare I say, us as basketball fans and in the media, we overlooked the Denver Nuggets. We overlooked them. I know I did. I overlooked them. And all they did was they blew the Phoenix Suns off the floor in Game 6. They just completely blew them off the floor. And they swept the Lakers. So I think we kind of overlooked them throughout the regular season. Do you agree with that?
I think in a lot of ways people overlooked them. And like I said, if it wasn't for me being an avid NBA fan and watching the games, Denver is one of those teams that will play, like, if you watch like TNT or your ESPN, like those late night games, those are the late games. Denver in those late night games. So if you don't stay around after that first game, you may decide to switch the channel. Oh, it's Denver. Nikola Jokic is going to give us a triple-double, 12 rebounds, 10 assists or whatever. But like when you really watch those games and you look at the body of work that he's done within the last 2 years, and specifically now, like this guy, it may be unorthodox, but the guy is truly talented. And I just recently had a discussion with someone else in another show, is that you almost have to pick your poison with Nikola Jokic, because he's going to score. He's going to give you anywhere between 25 and 30 points. But believe it or not, that's not really what hurts you. What hurts you is when you have 2 players that's double teaming him, and this man at 7 foot can still pass out of those double teams and hit Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Bruce Brown cutting to the lane for a layup. That's where he's the most dangerous. Agreed. When he can still get his teammates, and each one of those teammates I just named on any given night may get you anywhere between 15 to 18 points a game.
Talk about Erik Spoelstra as a head coach and how he's able to get the most out of those undrafted players, Wilton.
It starts from, he's been around this Miami Heat culture. That has been a really big hashtag and thought within this playoffs, Heat culture. But that has started to become a reality and a real thing, especially taking steam with what they've been doing in this particular playoff, or in this particular postseason as a whole. And I think that when you look at his background, he knows this team. And then, obviously having someone like Pat Riley in your ear to, glean from and understand, like, hey, if it's something that he doesn't know, you can obviously reach out and, share those conversations. And this is not his first time doing this. This is not Spoelstra's first time doing this. He's had the chance to coach legends. He's had the opportunity to, see like what he did right in times where, the Miami Heat were winning versus, times where they've struggled. Because this is not a team that has not come without struggles. Like we see what happened to them last year. We see what happened to we saw what happened to them throughout the regular season. I always tell people now, Miami is one of those teams in the regular season, you might count them out. And then all of a sudden, when it gets close to the playoffs, they go on this strong run, and it's like they're back in it. So you never really truly can count them out. And I think it gives credit and credence to what Spoelstra has built within that program, within that franchise.